Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video in the series Museum Ships Remembered, a series where we talk about the ships of old that are still with us today. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Queen Mary. And no, I don't mean the famous Cunard liner, the RMS Queen Mary. I'm talking about the TS Queen Mary, a Clyde steamer with an incredible and rich history of her own. She faced the threat of scrapping, but unlike so many ships, she was saved. And today, she's in the process of being restored as a museum ship. Hello everyone, it's Jamie from Old Shipping Lines. Join me as we explore the full story of the TS Queen Mary, from her building, through her years of service, her escape from the scrapyard, and where she is today. The vessel would be owned by Williamson Buchanan Steamers and built by the distinguished shipbuilders William Denny and Brothers of Dumbarton, Scotland. The TS Queen Mary measured 871 gross registered tons, with a length of 252 feet 6 inches and a beam of 35 feet 1 inch. She was powered by 3 direct-drive steam turbines from the Parsons Marine Steam Turbine Company, allowing her to reach speeds of up to 21 knots. Originally, the ship was certified to carry 2,086 passengers, though this number was later reduced to 1,820. The ship was launched on the 30th of March 1933. And after completing her trials, she officially joined the Williamson Buchanan fleet on the 20th of May, 1933. The Queen Mary operated from Glasgow's Bridge Wharf, carrying around 13,000 passengers each week. During the summer season, she sailed along the Arran coast or to the Isles of Bute. In 1935, the Cunard Line requested that Williamson Buchanan rename the Queen Mary to TS, Queen Mary II, so that the name could be used for their new flagship liner, which was to be launched by Queen Mary herself. Williamson Buchanan agreed, and in return, Cunard presented a portrait of Her Majesty to be displayed in the forward lounge of the steamer. In 1936, the entire Williamson Buchanan fleet, including Queen Mary II, passed into the ownership of the London, Midland, and Scottish Railway Company. Later that same year, she joined Williamson Buchanan Steamers. During World War II, she served the Scottish Islands, carrying both mail and passengers. After the war, she was refitted and repainted in LMS colors, before returning to her regular passenger routes. In 1948, with the nationalization of the railways, all remaining passenger ships came under the ownership of the Caledonian Steam Packet Company. Over the winter of 1956 to 1957, Barclay Curle converted the ship's propulsion system from coal to oil. This required the removal of her 2 original Scotch boilers, which were replaced with a single modern boiler and the installation of a large futuristic funnel in place of the original 2. A new mainmast was also added, giving Queen Mary II the 2 masts required to comply with updated ship lighting regulations. Following these modifications, the vessel's tonnage increased to 1,014 gross registered tons. During the 1960s, passenger traffic on the Firth of Clyde began to decline. Despite this, the Queen Mary II remained in service and was refurbished for cruises from Gourock to Inverary, Brodick, and Campbelltown. Her regular sailings from Glasgow came to an end on the 15th of September 1969 as the Caledonian Steam Packet Company chose to base her operations at Gourock instead. From 1969 onwards, the Queen Mary II featured on nearly all cruise itineraries, regularly sailing to Inverary, Campbelltown, Ailsa Craig, Bute, and Stranraer. To allow her to continue departures from Bridge Wharf, her masts were shortened to clear the newly constructed Kingston Bridge. However, Bridge Wharf ultimately closed before the bridge even opened. Over time, the Caledonian Steam Packet Company slowly merged with the West Highland Ferry Company, David MacBrayne, and by 1973, the two had become one Caledonian MacBrayne. A few years later, on the 4th of May 1976, the RMS Queen Mary was officially removed from Lloyd's Register in a special ceremony. With that, T.S. Queen Mary II once again reclaimed her original name, T.S. Queen Mary. Although Queen Mary remained a favorite on the charter market, she was over 40 years old, and it had become clear that major work would be needed to keep her running. The decision was made to retire her, and on 27th September 1977, she set out on her final public sailing before being laid up in the East India Harbour. In 1978, the Queen Mary was sold to Glasgow District Council with plans to turn her into a museum. When the council was unable to provide the necessary funding, she was sold on to Euroyachts. In 1981, she changed hands again, this time to Tessrite Limited, who moved her to London. On 29th January 1981, the Queen Mary departed under tow by the tug Pall Mall Delta, arriving 4 days later. In 1987, the Queen Mary was sold to Bass plc and underwent a £2.5 million refurbishment. She was then moored at Victoria Embankment, offering 2 bars and 2 function rooms, while her top deck served as an open-air venue with additional bar facilities. In November 2009, the Queen Mary was towed to Tilbury in preparation for a new chapter in La Rochelle. Purchased by Samuel Baudon, she was intended to become a floating restaurant and fitness center. However, by 2011, the project had collapsed, leaving her moored in Tilbury docks with an uncertain future. On 24th August 2011, the Queen Mary was auctioned by Capital Marine Services and purchased by Ranjan Chowdhury, who aimed to restore her to her 1930s splendor. In 2012, the charity Friends of the Queen Mary was formed, dedicated to bringing the ship back to a permanent berth in Glasgow. By February 2015, the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency issued a prohibition notice, barring her from leaving the port of Tilbury until she was deemed seaworthy. Later that year, the Port of Tilbury Limited arrested the vessel over unpaid berthing fees, once again placing her under the shadow of possible scrapping. Eventually, the Port of Tilbury put the Queen Mary up for auction, and the Friends of the Queen Mary's bid, funded by Jim McColl, was accepted, with the purchase finalized in October 2015. In December 2015, a campaign to carry out essential repairs was launched, led by Robbie Coltrane and supported by the Sunday Mail. Donations poured in from across the UK, and by March 2016, the full £120,000 required had been raised. The repairs contract was awarded to Dales Marine, and work began in April 2016. Following a survey by the MCA, the Queen Mary was issued a load line exemption certificate, allowing her to be towed from Tilbury back to Scotland. On the 15th of May 2016, she returned to the Clyde and was berthed in James Watt Dock for the summer. On the 1st of September 2016, after a successful campaign to raise £350,000, TS Queen Mary was towed into Garvell Dry Dock to begin renovation work. She returned to James Watt Dock on the 1st of October, and on 9th November 2016, she left under tow for Glasgow, her first visit to the city since 1977. She is now berthed at the entrance of Prince's Dock by the Glasgow Science Centre, where she is undergoing a major refit to become a permanent heritage destination and education centre. On the 11th of March 2022, the ship's royal patron, the Princess Royal, announced that the refit would now be extended to allow Queen Mary to return to passenger cruising in 2024. The plans would now require re-engineering. Now, while making this video, here are the latest updates regarding the ship. As of September 2025, the restoration of the Queen Mary is progressing steadily, with significant milestones achieved over the past year. The vessel is currently moored in Govan, Glasgow, near historic dry docks that have recently received planning permission for reuse, marking a major milestone in the restoration journey. In April 2025, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal visited the Queen Mary to see firsthand the progress made over the last 12 months. During her visit, she was briefed on the upcoming work, which includes completing structural steel repairs, installing new ship's windows, designing the ship's main machinery and systems, and replacing the steel decks. And that wraps up the incredible story of the TS Queen Mary, a ship that has truly defied the odds, surviving decades of change, neglect, and the ever-present threat of scrapping. From her heyday as a Clyde steamer to her long journey back home for restoration, the Queen Mary stands as a testament to the dedication of ship enthusiasts, preservationists, and communities who refuse to let maritime history be forgotten.
And that marks the end of a video, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing to the channel, as that would help out the channel a lot. Now, if you have any thoughts, comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, as I absolutely love reading your comments. And please let me know in the comment section down below as well what ships you would like me to cover in the future. Now be as well sure to check out our social media pages. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we also recently have a website, oldshippinglines.com, where we have articles of the ships we cover and we have book reviews as well. I think you will enjoy the website very much. Now, with that out of the way, guys, I wish you all a good night or day, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay happy, and we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye, my friends.